This is my first time playing in 10 years. It's so nostalgic. Let's have a good game, said the Jade and Yuki looking guy over here. You bet. I summon Black Wizard and end my turn. Black Wizard is green, by the way. Let's go. I summon my level 1 Harry Ball. Oh, that's pretty weak. Did you draw a bad hand? No. I can then activate my spell card, letting me reveal every second card in my deck. And if it's Saturday, I can activate 4 of them instantly, but only if Mercury is in retrograde. Come forth, Cyber Apocalypse God Eater Dragon. What the freak is this thing here, man? Some insect. Okay, I think it looks like beetles. It sort of looks like beetles combined with some weird insect, and you got the cyber part of it like in the bottom right hand corner. 4,000 attack. Art Minster. MCN DGN God SWP. What's its level? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's the thing. It's only a level 10 monster. It's not level 12, but it's level 13. Let's go. Oh man, that's great. And then we go to the final strip here. And the final strip here has him saying, "So, can I play now?" No, you lost. What's very funny about this is that a lot of people who do try to come back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Say this exact line of, "This is my first time playing in 10 years. It's so nostalgic." Okay, so 10 years ago, and I know people who literally do this. We're like, "Oh man, I haven't played this game in like 10 years, but yet they're playing decks from like 2006 and 2007. So they're 6 years off the actual cutoff point on when they actually did end up quitting the game. And that to me is very strange here. But for realsies, what is up with people being like, I left this game for over a decade and I come back to it and I'm surprised that this game has evolved and my old stuff doesn't work anymore. Wowzers, just wow. It's called Evolution, kid. Called Evolution. And I love reading the comments here because I am always interested in seeing what the general perspective is when it comes to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And first of all, the person who drew this, actually, Merryweather Media, goes on to say, to the YGO players offended, duel me. I play Tearlaments. You are based. Thank you. We have here by Travis Summerer. Goes on to say, this is the most accurate thing and it hurts me that there are seriously defenders of this game. Who is this fun for? Serious question. Maybe I'm just old AF, but I love for a legit explanation to why it's enjoyable to end a game on turn 1. Maybe I'm missing something here. Okay, in the past couple of years, especially with like more grind decks or more floodgates or more trap oriented decks coming about here, their deck is very back and forth, very interactive. One could argue that the game is more interactive now more than ever when you consider the fact that hand traps exist. So yeah, I say the game is incredibly interactive and it does go back and forth, and there's a lot of stuff that can happen within 3 turns. Like, I know the joke is, OMG, this person took like an hour to do their first turn, when in reality it took them probably around like 3 minutes. Going 3 to 4 turns honestly could go anywhere between like 20 minutes to 45 minutes at times. I've played games where the game only lasts up to 4 turns and we still went past 45 minutes. So yeah, the game, a lot can happen within just short turns. All because the turns are short doesn't mean that there's not a lot of interactivity happening within those turns. And yes, Nibiru is there. If you hate your opponent making their big Unga Bunga board, side in Nibiru. Went easy on dude, letting him set up for 2 whole turns only to tribute summon a 2500 attack vanilla. Nah, he deserves that L. First time in 10 years. This is arguably literally the best deck of 2013. Dragon Lords, boy oh boy, this was a very combo intensive, a lot of complication stuff happening, a lot of multi-summoning happening here. If you say, I haven't played this deck, or I haven't played the game Yu-Gi-Oh! In 10 years, then you probably played during Dragon Lore format. And Dragon Lore format is very skill intensive, very complicated, very technical. It's not normal summon Dark Magician somehow, and then pass return, and then like your opponent's gonna like flip like Mirror Force or Trap Hole on you. Like no, like the game, especially since like the 2010 Edison format, has grown on to be very complicated, and it's strange that players go into this game still expecting old DM stuff to be a thing. 10 years ago, wasn't that when XC summons are new, or was that when Pendulum cards came out? Yeah, so it was the year before Pendulums. So a year right after that, the game just goes on incredibly fast. So, and here's the thing, the game was also a little bit too fast for Dragon Ruler. The Dragon Ruler was a deck that was way too ahead of its time, that you have got this deck here in 2013 that could easily do really well for itself in 2015. And then like a year later, we get Pendulums, which accelerates, you know, the gameplay even a lot more faster. So yeah. Oh, I miss like old days when it's like no synchros and no XC summoning stuff, and it's only fusions. Hey, guess what? XCs and synchros were a thing 10 years ago. So I don't get it. This is exactly why I ain't play Yu-Gi-Oh no more. Sad peepee face. Ever since the cursed pendulum showed up, the game becomes not enjoyable. Like, no one plays pendulums except for weirdos like me, who plays pendulums. So yeah. Also, Super Heavy Samurai just got recently hit, and to be perfectly honest with you, like, it's not like it really isn't that bad. If you understand what's happening in the game, the technicalities and the complications of it though, and the speed of the game really isn't all that complicated or difficult for you to understand. It really isn't. It's on the person who lost for not playing, because that's kind of one of the core elements of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the fact you can do things on your opponent's turn. It's like one of the main interesting things of its gameplay is interaction is constant. And yes, interaction is very constant, though there is like a subsection of like weird people out there that do exist. That's like, I want to do, here's what something I theorized, is the fact that like somewhere between like the early 2010s to mid 2010s, there's this period of like people not playing like hand traps and people just not doing this interactive things what we do now, and they just went like full unga bunga, make my big wombo combo board, and then that big wombo combo board ended up scaring some players away. And so when they try to get back into the game, they still see the unga bunga board and not recognizing or realizing there are ways to interact through that with the use of hand traps now. And there's a lot of going second blow by cards that can get rid of Entire's big board. Stuff like Dark Lure in the Morn, Evenly Match, and Nibiru are very strong going second cards. It used to be thinking that, oh, you have to go second. If you're not going first, then you lose the game. But now the game has evolved to the sense that there are a lot of people who are perfectly fine going second, and the percentile of you winning and going first versus going second is like 60-40 now. So really, I say the game is at its finest right now in terms of interaction. This is it. What do you mean tournament level games aren't the same way as the way I used to play on the playground 20 years ago? This is the perfect encapsulation of the general newbie or somebody who is not in fine tune of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trying to get back. I say that it's a great time to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! There's so many options out there. There's so many like YouTube videos, so many discussion videos, so many Reddit post discussions. There are a bunch of online discussions. There are websites dictated around explaining to you on how to play the game. Heck, you can go and subscribe and watch my Yu-Gi-Oh! Report card series where I teach you how to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if not mine, there's a lot of players like Varfa to MBT to CMO to even Decade who can go and teach you how to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I say, yeah, the game right now is as interactive as it's ever been. It's very fun, back and forth. There are a lot of options, utilities you can use. The game right now is very, very diverse right now, where almost any deck can beat any other deck or is fully capable to have a competitive matchup against one another. So I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a really good place right now. You know, this guy's an anime pro tag when you consider the fact that he has the Millennium Puzzle, a small mini one, on his chest here. Let's go, man. He's committed to the bits. Yeah.